Greatness is a picture book about trailblazing and famous African Americans, past and present. It's designed to inspire children to follow their own paths to greatness. Hi, I'm Dan Skinner, and welcome to the Kids Bookshelf. Ahead, we'll explore the book, and I'll talk with the authors and photographers about the inspiration behind it. Regis and Kahran Bethencourt are the husband and wife duo behind CreativeSoul Photography, where they specialize in child and lifestyle photography. They're the photographers behind The Me I Choose to Be, written by Natasha Anastasia Tarpley, and the New York Times bestseller, Glory. They join us to talk about their picture book, Greatness. Regis and Kahran, welcome to the Kids Bookshelf.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, tell us about the inspiration behind this picture book.
Yeah, so this book, it's more than just a Black history book for kids. We really wanted to bridge the past with the present. This book actually goes into historical figures, but the two kids in the book imagine themselves as the figures. And so we really wanted to inspire kids to see themselves as a part of history and see themselves being able to make history.
So tell us about the story here. I understand they're visiting their grandmother and things go from there.
Well, they're two kids, Nasir and Imani, and they are visiting their grandmother, who was a former photojournalist. And the kids are bored. They're looking for something to do in grandma's house. And so she breaks out her photo album. And as she's going through her album, she's reminiscing about all the famous people and, all the wonderful figures that she's met over her years. And the kids, every time she talks about someone different, whether it's Basquiat or Katherine Johnson or Barack Obama, they imagine themselves as that person. And that's where our photography comes in. So we had a lot of fun really just transforming these kids into all of these different figures for them to be able to imagine themselves as that person.
You include people from the past and the present, trailblazers and entertainers, etc. There's so many people you could have featured. How did you decide who to feature in this book?
I feel like with children books, the common goal is to get children to understand something, whatever the author is trying to convey. And we just wanted to cover a wider range of Black history figures and that are current and some that are in the past and we also covered a wide range of careers because we wanted children to be able to see themselves in this book.
Right. And, so we had artists and we didn't want to have because a lot of times when kids think about Black history, they just think about people who marched or protested. Yeah. And so we wanted them to see themselves, whether they were an athlete or an entertainer. So that's why we included Beyoncé, right? Or Katherine Johnson, who was, a mathematician. We wanted them to see themselves in a wide variety of careers. And also, we wanted to pick some figures that were, not as covered in our Black history books. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we didn't choose figures like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, because we feel like, those are ones that are, more well known. And so we wanted to cover, like, for instance, Black Wall Street or Tommy Smith and John Carlos from the Olympics, right? So people that maybe were not as well known in some of our Black history books that we had in the past.
So, Kahran, to give us a taste of what's in this book, would you read a small portion of it for us?
Jure. So the Basquiat image, I don't know if you guys can see this, is one of our favorites. So Greatness is the artist, jena-michel Basquiat. He combined drawing, painting, and poetry in beautiful new ways and went from selling his work on the street to making millions of dollars. Nasir imagined the creativity it took to invent a whole new way of looking at the world. Greatness looks like Katherine Johnson. Back before we had computers, human did the math that sent people into outer space. Katherine's math abilities were so great, she was hired for jobs that used to be for white people only. Eventually, she became one of the lead mathematicians at NASA. Imani imagined the intelligence and dedication Katherine needed to overcome prejudice and send people to the stars.
Now, in the back of the book, you have more detailed information about each of the people you feature in the book. And, I imagine that's the sort of thing that adults could read or talk with their kids about and also learn something new themselves. They may know about some of these, but there are other things like that Tulsa massacre that I didn't learn about until late in my adulthood.
Same. And that was one of the reasons why I included in this, even though I know it's kind of a tough subject for kids, but I didn't learn about it until well into my adulthood. Right. And I was like, why did I never know about this? Right. And so, I wanted this to spark conversation between parents and kids of all races. Right. I wanted them to be able to sit down with their kids and have conversations and really to learn about, our history, because I feel like Black history is history, regardless of where you come from or who you are. And it's important for us, kind of all to understand each other's stories. And so that's one of the reasons why we included some of the facts and about each one of the people in the back of the book.
I'm talking with Regis and Kahran Bethencourt about greatness, and our conversation will continue. If you're enjoying this discussion, please subscribe, like, and click on the bell so you know when I post new interviews. And thank you. Now, in the story, the kids get to dress up like these characters. And I'm wondering about sort of the process and challenge for you as photographers to create these beautiful images, but also have some historical accuracy with them.
Correct. That was one of the big things for us. One, we were kind of taking inspiration from, we pulled from a bunch of different photos that we found in the past, looking at reference images, looking at wardrobe, looking at hair, and then, putting a little bit of our spin on it as well, right? As photographers, we often, kind of take things and then use our own artistic style and voice in the imagery. And so it was really fun. The little boy that we used in the book, he has a really big afro and, we had to transform him. So, he had to go to like a little small, afro for the Barack Obama look. And then he had his really big one for Colin Kaepernick and locks for Basquiat. And so we really had to transform them, several different times. And it was wonderful working with the two models that we used, because we really had to do this in a number of days, and they really had to hang in there with us to transform into all those different people. But they really enjoyed it, and they just really brought a wonderful spirit to set. Our Barack Obama, he even did a Barack Obama impersonation for us. That was actually pretty good. So we really had fun with it.
There is a lot of history in this book, but there are additional messages in there for kids as well. So what do you hope kids are going to take away from this book?
Yeah. So we talked about, them just being able to see themselves, no matter what their interests are, but also to really think about how the past is connected to us now, right? Like when I look at, Tommy Smith and John Carlos right at the Olympics and look at Colin Kaepernick of today, right? Like there are so many different similarities. And so I want kids to see that this is not just about the past or the present, it's about their future as well, and understanding their history and knowing those who came before us so that it can help them pave their way for the future.
And I feel like representation is more important now than ever. And we really want the kids to know that they are included in this world, and to also know that greatness is, within them. They're already equipped to be able to do everything they want to do and to make a mark on the world.
Regis, you're talking about representation. That's something that you've been involved with a lot. And one of the ways you've shown that is through the Princess Project. So tell us a bit about it.
The Disney Princess Project. We decided to do our own spin on the Disney princesses. And that was real awesome because we were mixing the styles of kind of what we do into the world of, the Disney. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And we never expected the response that we got from it. We were just doing it because We
it was just a fun artistic project for us that morphed into something much bigger. And so it started off as, kind of a thing on social media. And next thing you know, Disney reached out and asked if we would like to do our own Disney doll line, Disney Princess doll line. And so we did 4 dolls that were kind of reimagined in our style. And we released them 2023, I believe, was the year. So it was a lot of fun. We had so much fun just, engaging in the Disney world, right? Because it was a whole new thing for us. But it was also great for, again, our kids to be able to see themselves also in the fairy tales and the stories that they were reading and seeing on television. So.
I also want to point out, I'm going to glance down here to get this information right, but you received a Coretta Scott King John Steptoe New Talent Illustrator Award for the work that you did on the Me I Chose to Be. And I understand that's the first time that photography has been recognized in that way. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's so major for us. It's, definitely not something that we ever expected, as photographers coming into this picture book space. It's kind of uncharted territories in a bit, right? In a sense, there obviously are some folks that have done it before, but to go to these lengths and to receive, the recognitions that we've been able to receive has been a huge honor for us. And, we're just grateful that our audience has received it so well, and that kids, really take these books. We hear stories from parents all the time that say, my kids love these books. I have them all. And, they really feel seen and heard and represented. And that's really our ultimate goal.
Well, now that you've done a couple children's books, do you see more children's books, picture books in your future?
We actually have we have 2 coffee table books, Glory and Crowned, and those were both New York Times bestsellers, which we are super proud of. And so I think it's definitely going to be still a combination of more children's books as well as our coffee table books, because people just love to see the images all together and to have a collection of our latest images. And so that's something that we hope that we can work on for years to come.
And also, I've always dreamed to have like a book that's full of illustrations that I've done. Maybe one day we may not be able to sit down and be able to do it. But I think my debut is the Basquiat doodles that I did in Greatness.
Yes. So Reg has a background in illustration as well that we haven't really been able to tap into much because of our photography.
Maybe we can tie the both of them together one day.
Yeah.
Well, this current picture book is Greatness by Regis and Kahran Bethencourt. Thank you for talking with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. This is so much fun.
If you would like to purchase Greatness, I've placed a link for you in the description below. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, like, and click on the bell so you know when I post new interviews. Meanwhile, here are 2 more books you might find interesting. Well, thank you for watching this edition of the Kids Bookshelf. I'm Dan Skinner. Until next time, keep sharing the gift of reading.